Raymond is joining from Port Harcourt. Bashir is joining from Bauchi. Please keep them coming. I would really love to know where each and every person is joining us from before we get started. So slight introduction. My name is 𝗪𝗪 and I am the partnership and growth lead at Analytics Business. And like I mentioned earlier, I am joining from Lagos, Nigeria. So we have 𝗪𝗪 Newton. 𝗪𝗪 is joining us from Port Harcourt. We have you. Oh God, I'm so sorry if I'm pronouncing this wrong. I'm just going to take the middle name. 𝗪𝗶𝗹𝗹 is joining us from Osogbo, Nigeria. Aspire Grace, that's Charles, is joining from Anambra State. Kingsley Andy is joining us from Italy. So we're going global. That's fantastic. Welcome, Kingsley. Fantastic to have you on here. David is joining us from Lagos. Mafat is joining us from Jos Plateau State. It's a pleasure to have you here. Joshua is joining us from Victoria Island, Lagos. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I know it's a Friday evening. You could be doing any other thing, but you took out time to be on this session. So fantastic. So without wasting more time, I'm just going to go ahead to present the slides so we can kick off for today. Just to let you know that this is a very interesting topic we have planned out for you today. A lot of people have been hearing about AI is the future, AI is now. Questions, is it going to take my job? What am I going to do with AI? How do I get to learn about AI? All those type of questions will be responded in today's session. So sit back, please have your notes, your pen, your writing materials, a coffee, juice, whatever would keep you awake. Okay, we're going to spend the next hour, 30 minutes going through the entire process when it comes to AI and humans and the jobs that would survive the next 5 years. Hi, Nurat. Thank you for joining us from Lagos. I'm going to go ahead to share my screen. Please let me know when you can see my screen. You can just use a thumbs up using the reaction icon. All right, Yusuf can see my screen. Isaac can see my screen. Manuela. All right, fantastic. Love the response so far. So let's move over to the next session before we get started. If this is the first time that you're actually hearing about Analytics or Analytics Business, drop a 1 in the chat. If you've heard about us before, you can drop a 0. I want to welcome all the first timers on today's call. So if it's the first time that you're hearing about Analytics or Analytics Business, please drop a 1 in the chat. If not, drop a 0. All right, we're already getting so many responses. Ifeanyi, this is the first time. Yes. Yusuf the first time, Mawat the first time, Isaac no, Emanuela no, Bashir no, Chidebele 1, that's a yes, Ozili 1, Samson 1, so Nurat 1. So if the first time, yes, we have special packages for you all. We just need to move over to the first timer seats. We're already capturing all those details. When I say move to the first timer seats, go to the attendance that my colleague has just dropped in the chat and fill in your details. We have special packages for you before the session runs out. So she just sent the link to the attendance. Please ensure that you fill the attendance. This will ensure that we're able to send you the recording and the resources right after the session is done. So ensure that you fill the attendance. It is very, very, very important. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. So just as you can see on the screen, today's topic is AI versus humans. What jobs will survive the next 5 years? That is that's a topic to ponder about, so to say. Okay. So when it comes to AI, when it comes to human, am I going to lose my job to AI? Hi, Toyin. Welcome, joining from the session from Lokoja. So that's fantastic. Okay. So in the next 5 years, am I going to lose my job or not? Okay, that's a very, very strong concern in terms of professionals these days. And we're going to discuss this topic, let you know what you need to do to keep your jobs or to even get better jobs as professionals, and end-to-end the activities and information and tools you need to achieve this. So just sit back and enjoy the ride as we go on. Okay, so before we get into the nitty-gritties of AI, humans, jobs, professionalism, and all that, who is bringing this session to you today, or why are we even in this webinar? Okay, so this session is brought to you by 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business. And, since we have a lot of first timers in the house today, I'm just going to give a slight introduction about what 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business is, or, what the organization does. So 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business is an e-learning platform. And basically what we focus on is to help organizations, individuals, professionals be able to have access to array of different professional development skills. Okay, so it's not just you getting skills, it's you learning how to implement, you learning how to adopt those processes into your day-to-day activities, whether you're a professional, a founder, HR, no matter the type of job role that you currently have, even students. Okay, you are also welcome in this session. And for those looking or seeking employment, looking to transition from a non-tech role to into a tech role, looking for remote foreign roles, you are all welcome to this session. And at the very tail end, we have something exciting for you to, basically learn and give you at the end of the session. Okay, so 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business has trained quite a number of organizations. Okay, we are not new to this. We've trained individuals and organizations like 𝗂𝗲, 𝗪𝗂𝗪, MTN. There's a lot of organizations we train. So just so you know the quality of individuals and facilitators that we have. Okay, so we have access to top quality courses, diverse disciplines. So that means we sort of focus on, okay, someone's mic is unmuted. I'm going to just go ahead to mute your mic. Hi, Isaac. Please, can you mute your mic? Okay. All right. That's been sorted. So for 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business, we have different ranges of courses. Okay, so across different disciplines. If you are a finance professional, tech professional, HR, whatever industry you're currently working in, or whatever job role or job title, we have a course tailored for you. Okay, so we play in different spaces, whether you're looking at customized services in terms of training sessions, you're looking at sort of consulting services, or you as an individual are also looking to upskill, there is something for you in our course catalog. Okay, so our main goal is just to ensure that individuals continuously develop themselves for you to have that desired role. Okay, so you are a data analyst, you're looking to become a senior data analyst, or you're looking to become a chief information and data professional. Okay, so for you to get to those cadres, you actually need to learn a skill. Okay, it's not just about having certification, it is learning a skill, and that is what we try to achieve here at 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 Business. So I just want you to sit with us and watch the entire process, because we have a load of lineup for you to go through. So moving on, I'm going to take the stage. I'm going to leave the stage basically, and would have our facilitator of the day join us. So our facilitator's name is Elizabeth, and then Elizabeth will be taking you end to end. Elizabeth will be taking you end to end when it comes to AI, as well as the jobs that will be able to survive the next 5 years. And just to give you a bit of intro to who Elizabeth is a project manager, as well as a senior agile project manager, a growth catalyst. She has over half a decade years of experience when it comes to product and project management. She's a skilled leader. She's a coach. She has trained over 1,000 individuals with no prior experience. So just to show you the caliber of individuals that you currently have, she has been able to guide over 1,000 individuals. Okay, so Elizabeth is that professional that is able to sort of help you move from not having any tech experience to actually being a project manager, being a data analyst, whatever tech professional. Please, I'd love to get the reaction as I'm calling up your facilitator for today. All right. Loving the enthusiasm. Fantastic. Elizabeth, if you're on the call, your people await. Hi, Elizabeth. Are you there?
Hi, Treasure. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Thank you for the introduction. I almost did not know you were introducing me. Thank you so much for that. Hi everyone, my name is Elizabeth Nana, as Treasure rightly said, and I will be taking you through, just half of the session, and then you can speak to Treasure once again very soon. All right, so Treasure, please, can you stop sharing your screen? So I'll just pull up my slides. Okay, let's just give that a minute to come up. So we're just going to get right into it, okay? Treasure already laid the foundation for what this session is going to be about. A very scary question that a lot of us get to ask ourselves. But what exactly are we going to be doing today? All right, now the first thing you're going to get to understand is this AI versus humans war. What exactly is it? What does it mean for you, for the future of your job, right? And what exactly does it entail? Next, we'll be moving on, to how you can land AI roles and also future-proof your work. Very, very important. Now, the world is constantly evolving, and you want to make sure that you're evolving with it so you do not get left behind. And then finally, if you stick with us till the end of the session, you will get to learn how you can position yourself for success. How and where do you apply for these jobs? All right. So before we, go ahead to start the session, just quick one in the chat. When you hear AI, what is the first, word or feeling that comes to your mind? Do you feel excited? Do you feel nervous? Do you feel curious? What exactly is it that you feel? I want to see some interaction, some answers in the chat. Every time you hear AI, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? So you can just put it in the chat. Kingsley says, I feel excited. I'm with you on that, Kingsley. Thank you so much. Anyone else? Anyone else? So I need this to be as interactive as possible. All right. So put your answers in the chat and then we can move on from there. Yusuf says Industrial Revolution. Abose David says human machine. Victory says robots. Fantastic. Great says I feel, excited. All right, so I see Victor's hand up. Victor, I'm just going to give you an opportunity to unmute for about 1 minute and just tell us what exactly it is that you feel when you hear AI. Go ahead and unmute your mic, Victor, if you can hear me. Okay, I don't think Victor can hear me. Victor, if you're speaking, your mic is currently muted. All right, we're just going to go ahead. Now, let me tell you a very, very quick story, all right? 100 years ago, when tractors were introduced, many farmers panicked, right? Because a lot of them thought, if we allow a machine to come into, this sector, into our jobs right now, and, start doing the plowing for us, what exactly will we do? Okay, so instead of this happening, instead of this fear materializing, because they thought that the tractors were going to, just wipe them out. Now, instead of the tractors wiping out the farmers, tractors actually scaled farming. All right, now it helped farmers to produce more because now you don't have to waste your time plowing the field. All right, you can plow an entire acre of field in, maybe in a few hours. You don't have to waste time plowing the field. So these farmers got to, produce more. They fed more people and they even created new industries. Now, here is the point. All right, think of AI as today's tractor. It's not here to kill jobs. I'm sure a lot of us, when we saw the topic, we thought, oh, AI versus humans, and a lot of us were panicking a little bit. I know we are not going to admit it, but that's something that a lot of people felt. Now, AI is not here to kill jobs, right? It will help to transform these jobs. Now, I want you to put a yes in the chat if you have ever heard of this phrase, oh, AI is coming for our jobs. Just put a yes in the chat if you have ever heard of that. Thank you, Mafat. Anyone else? Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Raymond. Apparently everybody, so I'm not alone, right? We always hear that, and it's a common misconception. Now, before you panic, okay, before you panic about AI taking over, let's have a laugh, right? Someone asked ChatGPT, how many strawberries are in the word are? Now, ChatGPT thought for 11 seconds. Now that's 11 seconds of deep thinking. I want you to try to count to 11. That's 11 seconds. ChatGPT had to think deeply for 11 seconds, and then it replied confidently. The letter R has 3 strawberries. Now, I'm sorry, but if this is the future that is supposed to come and take over our jobs, I think our jobs are safe. All right, I think we're safe. But on a serious note, is AI powerful? Yes, it is. Very, very much so. But it can also be hilariously wrong. And that is the entire point of this session tonight. I'm here to tell you that AI doesn't get to replace humans. AI actually needs humans to guide it, to interpret it, and also to correct it. Now, this session is not really about AI versus humans, all right? It is humans with AI. The value in the AI is how we use it, all right? Now, I want you to leave this session with this quote, this very, very powerful quote. I want you to keep it in mind. If you don't leave this session with any other thing, just remember this quote. Tools don't replace people, all right? People who use tools replace people who don't. Now, when I was thinking about this session, when I was prepping for this session, I came across something on the internet that really spoke to me and is also sort of going to guide the conversation for today. But, I want us to also think about computers. I want us to think about the internet. I want us to think about, calculators. All right. At first, when these things were invented, people were scared. But in the end, the people who embraced them were the people that actually thrived. All right. Now, there is this screenshot I saw online that I'm going to be sharing. I realized that ChatGPT, the OpenAI, was hiring for the role of a content strategist. Now, the salary range is between $310,000 a year to $393,000 a year. Now, the focus of this is not even the role that they're hiring for. All right. But it's the fact that ChatGPT, okay, I see someone's mic is unmuted. That's Jibril. So Jibril, I'm just going to go ahead to mute your mic now because there's feedback coming from your end. But when we talk about AI, a lot of people, I'm sure a lot of us on this call tonight, we have heard about ChatGPT one way or the other, right? ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT itself, which is sort of like the blueprint for AI, is hiring a human to come and be their content strategist. Now, have you thought to ask yourself, why exactly are they hiring these people? I mean, AI can write the content for them, right? AI can do that. So why does ChatGPT also need a human for content? The answer is very simple. AI creates the content, but humans would actually create the strategy. Now, AI can help you to draft your words. When you need to put a document together, you need to create content. Yes, AI can do that. But AI cannot help you decide the tone, right? It can't help you decide the brand voice or what the goals of the business are. And that is where human beings still lead. Now, the truth is that AI is already here. A lot of people say AI is the future. I don't like that saying because, AI has been existing for a while now. If you watch Netflix, you see how Netflix is able to recommend, shows that you should watch based on, the history of the type of shows that you've been watching. That is AI, right? When you apply for a loan and then your bank has to do a series of checks to decide whether they can approve your loan or reject your loan, they also use AI. Now, not a lot of people know that. When Tesla drives itself down the street, we hear about these, self-driving cars. That is also AI as well. Now, a lot of us that are shopaholics like myself, if you have had to ever use an application or, an e-commerce website to try to order something and then you hit a snag and you want to reach out to support, the first thing that you'll be able to do is you have to interact with a chat bot, all right, before they decide if your issue is significant enough to be, escalated to a human agent. That is also, AI. So if you keep thinking that AI is coming tomorrow, no, I'm here to tell you that AI is already living in our pockets, today. Now, it is transforming our everyday roles. Project managers use AI to plan their work faster. Data analysts use AI to clean their data instantly. Even customer service teams, use AI and also chatbots for, frequently asked questions, to answer questions and all of that. And then marketers as well use AI to generate idea. All right, so it's not like it removes the role entirely, it simply amplifies it for us. Now, when we talk about AI, the most common ones are ChatGPT, Gemini, Cloud, and so on and so forth. I see Yusuf Mohammed says, I used AI to generate app scripts. Fantastic. So now it doesn't totally eliminate your role. It simply helps you to work faster. I always tell people, this is not the era of, working very hard. You have to work 23 hours a day, in order for you to know that, yes, I'm very good at my job. Now, if there's a way you can make your job faster, do it. Work faster and work smarter. All right. Okay, so AI and humans are good at very different things. You can see here on my screen, I have the human and I also have the AI, right? So let's start with AI first. So here's the truth. I want you to think of AI as the world's fastest intern. You can use AI as your intern. Just think about it. Now, AI never gets tired. AI never needs a break, except, of course, there is a bug, right? But AI never needs a break and it never asks for a raise. So, AI is able to process data at lightning speed. It's also able to detect patterns that humans would generally just overlook or miss. And then it can also handle boring, repetitive tasks that would just drain our energy if we're the ones to do it. But let's be clear, I refer to AI as, the world's fastest interns. Now, has anyone ever worked at a company that an intern was running? Please give me a thumbs up if you have, and a thumbs down if you haven't. If you have worked at a company that, an intern was running, I want to see some reactions in the chat. Oh, Yusuf says yes. Yusuf, would you like to tell us about the company that you worked at that an intern was running? Great says no, Smart says no, fantastic. I think it's only Yusuf that has worked at that company, but I have never seen such a company. All right. Interns do not run companies, they support, they assist. They are the ones that get to do the grunt work. If I worked at any company where they have interns, those are the people that they ask to do, oh, go and photocopy this, or go and get coffee, or go and get XYZ. They're the ones that get to do the grunt work. They're the ones that help to make the team more productive. Now, that's the role of AI. It is a very, very brilliant assistant, all right? But it is not the CEO of the company. Now, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's talk about the things that, humans can do. If we put, the world chess champion and we put AI together and, they have to compete against each other, AI will probably beat, that person at chess. And that's me being very honest, right? AI can definitely beat the world champion at chess, but AI cannot comfort a crying child. That is something that is very important. AI cannot negotiate peace between two angry nations. You see two very angry nations together. AI cannot help to negotiate peace there. AI cannot sell you a dream or even convince you to join a cause. And that's because humans bring what AI cannot. We have empathy. We have emotional intelligence. We have complex judgments. Think back to, the slide I shared earlier, the screenshot I shared on when someone asked ChatGPT how many strawberries you had in the letter R, right? If that was something that was going to make or break a deal in an organization, just best believe that the organization has lost that deal. But you definitely need a human to actually fact check some of these things that AI is giving to us. So I always say, don't just take everything hook, line, and sinker. All right, you still need that human brain to that human being to come in with emotional intelligence, to come in with the power to also inspire trust, especially when you're trying to close a deal. Now, in your opinion, I have about 5, human skills here. The first one is creativity and storytelling. The second one is emotional intelligence. The third is complex judgment. The fourth is building trust. And the fifth is strategic leadership. Now, which of these skills do you think would be the hardest for AI? I mean, not even right now. Let's think about the next 5 years. Which of these skills do you think would be the hardest for AI to ever replace? Just put your answers in the chat. All right. So while you're putting your answers in the chat, I will get to that. So I want you to know that at the end of the day, influence, when you talk about leadership, strategic leadership, when you talk about creativity, these are still human superpowers. These are things that we have that AI doesn't necessarily have, and AI can never replicate it. All right, let's bring this home now with a real life job example. Treasure must have introduced me earlier, as a project manager. All right, so now meet Ashley Brown. Now, Ashley Brown is a project manager, and she's currently overseeing the execution of a $1 million project. Now, let me walk you through how Ashley would spend a typical week, right? So the first thing she has to do, that week, at the end of the week, she has to start preparing the weekly status report, right? So she has to do that manually, go through Jira, go through Trello, or whatever PM tool she's using to track her tasks. And then she's able to gather the reports there and start preparing it on her own, right? Next, she goes about collecting updates manually from about 6 team members. And that's me just being very lenient, because some project teams, could have up to 8 or 10 members. Now, imagine Ashley going about, having to collect updates manually from these different people. All right. Now, the next thing she does is she's building a Gantt chart in Excel. And finally, she's spending the rest of her time tracking risks across multiple spreadsheets. Now, I'm here to tell you, and take it from me, all right? Just take my word as gospel. I'm here to tell you that this is not even 1% of the work that a project manager has to do. But imagine Ashley spending about 10 hours every single week on just these 4 admin tasks that I have on my screen right now. Preparing the status report, collecting updates, building a Gantt chart, and also tracking risks. 10 hours every single week. She spends 10 hours on this. And this is because Ashley has not, augmented her work or future-proofed her work with AI. Now, let's look at a project manager that has leveraged AI in their task. Same Ashley, when she decided to level up. And I'm using Ashley here, but just pretend, because I'm pretending. This is supposed to be me, but I'm pretending that we're talking about a make-believe person. All right. Now, when I went ahead to leverage AI, in my work, now I'm able to use AI-powered, project management tools that would automatically go to my Jira or my Trello board to get updates. All right. And then AI generates the status report draft in minutes, in about 2 to 5 minutes. The draft is generated, and all I have to do is just read through it, proofread it, and then maybe make some corrections here and there. So I don't have to start working on the status report from scratch. AI gives me the draft. Then AI also helps to identify the delays, helps to suggest mitigations as well. And then Ashley, the project manager, or myself, is able to focus on strategic leadership. Now, she's able to run around and speak to the stakeholder alignment, and also make decisions that would move the company or the project forward. Now, all of these different admin tasks that would have taken Ashley 10 hours, every single week, if she wasn't using AI, takes her 1 hour, just 1 hour out of a 40-hour work week, and she's able to complete all of these tasks in 1 hour. That is the power of AI. Again, AI is not here to replace Ashley. Look at this last image on my slide here, where you have Ashley speaking to the board members. AI cannot do that, but what it is here to do is to take the stress off Ashley. Now, AI is helping her to complete all of the administrative work, while she can focus on, what is actually very, very important to her. Now, let's take a look at another one, the role of a data analyst. Now, when you have a data analyst that, doesn't use AI, I think I want to take a moment here to ask people in the house. If we have data analysts in the house, if you have worked with data in one way or the other, right? In one form or the other, in one capacity or the other, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. And if not, put a 2 in the chat. All right. So if you have ever worked with data, or you're a current data analyst, I want you to put a 1 in the chat. Go ahead. Anybody? Okay, Victor says 2. So Victor is saying no. Anyone else? All right, Celestine, please go ahead. I see your hand up. All right, I have Ifeanyi, I have Obina, fantastic. One more person, Mafat says 1 as well, great. So that means you'll be able to deeply relate with what I'm about to say. Now, as a data analyst, right, you're going to spend hours when you need to merge your CSV files, and maybe there are missing values here and there. You're going to probably spend hours working on this. All right. Then you also have to write your SQL queries, line by line. You're trying to answer basic questions, and you need to sit down and actually start writing these queries line by line. And then you are, the end of the month, you have to probably start working on it week 2 or week 3, right? Preparing this monthly report. But when you are an AI analyst, all right, you have AI assistants that automate the data cleaning process for you and can help with this integration in minutes, very, very fast. All right, but you need to know your way around it, and that's just the truth. Now the truth, again, like I mentioned earlier, is that AI is not completely going to replace this to future-proof your job. All right, now what are some of the core skills that you need in 2025? Now, in order for us to put this program together, just take a step outside. Go outside of 10 Analytics business. So we decided to go outside of 10 Analytics business and just figure out what it is that they're saying out there. Because again, this is a global market. All right. So you're no longer playing in just Nigeria. We're looking at a global scale now. So we want to make sure that we are actually on the right path. Now, what we did was we went online to try to figure out what exactly are these reputable forums saying. And we came across the World Economic Forum report, the future of jobs for 2025. Now, if you stick with me till the end of the session and you are actually filling the link that my colleagues are dropping in the chat, you'll be able to get the recording of this session as well as the slides that I am using right now. Now, the reason this is very important is because I have a lot of wonderful resources linked here. So you can actually take your time to go over them and read them, at your own time. The Future of Jobs report for 2025 is linked on the slide, and we were able to highlight some of the skills that they are looking for in 2025. And the first is AI. I mean, come on, that's the basis of this entire session. All right, AI and also data rules. If you can see here, once you get this report, just zoom in, and also you can click on the link right here to access the report and take a look at it by yourself. All right, we're able to highlight AI and big data as one of the core skills that I needed in 2025. So even for the people that were answering one in the chat, people that have already been working as data analysts, or you work with data day to day, there's a big need for you to make sure that you are upskilling. All right, because I'm telling you that AI is definitely going to transform the way you work. I remember the first time I used AI for, a project charter that I needed to work on. And something that I would naturally spend probably 2 days, 3 days, racking my brain, trying to put together. I was able to do it in minutes, literally in minutes. Of course, I needed to correct a few things, but I was able to do it in minutes. And I remember the question I asked myself that day was, where's ChatGPT been all my life? All right. Now, how do you leverage AI in your already existing role? And if you're not, already working, working with data, you may want to port or transition, because that is what, is currently in demand in the market. Now, the WEF, that's the World Economic Forum, went ahead to also just highlight, the skills that are on the rise between 2025 to 2030. Remember, we're not just here to talk about the present. We're also trying to future-proof our jobs. All right. Now, AI and data top the list. And this is worldwide. This is global. All right. AI and data top the list of the fastest growing world skills. Now, regardless of whatever it is that you're doing, you want to make sure that you have either one of these two or even the both of them in your skill set. These are the fastest growing world skills that we have currently. Now, let's talk about some success stories. If you are joining the session at the beginning, before the main session started, you must have seen some videos, just going and playing. Now, it always seems impossible until it is done. You've probably been listening to me speak, and then you're like, Elizabeth probably just has a swift mouth. Like, she's just talking about all of these things, but how am I sure it is possible? Now, there are certainly people here that have never worked with AI or never worked with data in their roles, and you're also looking to pivot. You're looking to move into the next big thing. All right, in order for you to also land, high-paying global jobs. Now, there are people that have actually walked this walk before you. And how are we sure? How are we able to know that, these things that we actually, everything that I said to you today is actually correct? It's because we have people that have succeeded with this. Now, I'm not going to take our time to start going through all of these, testimonials one by one, because we'll actually not go on tonight. All right, we can have a full 5-hour session just to talk about some of our success stories alone, both for individuals as well as organizations. All right, we have Abigail here who had experience as a care worker in Canada, and then she transitioned into business analysis. Now, not just the regular business analysis, but AI augmented. All right, and she was able to land a job as a business analyst in Canada. Now, it's not just, it goes way beyond you being a data analyst or a business analyst or a project manager. All right, how do you also stand out? Because trust me, in as much as you're trying to, get into data analytics, other people, 1,000,001 people are also trying to get into data analytics. Now, when it's time to go into the job market, how do you strategically position yourself to stand out? All right, is by making sure that you're future-proofing your work with AI. So once again, make sure to, fill the attendance form that, my colleagues have been dropping in the chat, just to ensure that you are able to get the slides that I'm using right now, so you can listen to all of these testimonials, because every single thing is linked on this slide. So we have so many of them. Now to the $1,000,000 question. I know this has been a question on a lot of our minds tonight. We just wanted to not make it seem like, we were rushing. How do you land these AI roles? I've been talking about AI a lot, but how do you actually land these roles? The first thing you want to do is to learn. And what are you learning? You want to make sure that you're picking up an in-demand skill, whether it is data, whether it is AI prompting, prompt engineering, whether it is social influence, whether it is network and cybersecurity, whether it is financial analytics, leadership and creative thinking. You need to pick one of them and learn, all right? You need to focus on that. Now, the next thing you want to do is package yourself. We're Nigerians. Packaging is very, very important, even in our day-to-day lives. Now, when I talk about packaging, what do I mean? Your technical skills are not enough to land you a job, right? So even when you go ahead to learn these in-demand skills, now you are an AI augmented data analyst, all right? When it comes to actually getting your foot in the door, before you can show these companies that your onions, how do you go about it? How do you package yourself, so that you look like you're worth $1 million? And when I talk about that, I'm talking about revamping your CV. So yes, you have the skills, but a lot of us on this call, you're applying for jobs. You're not even able to get an interview, even though you have the skills. And I'm going to tell you why. Recruiters use ATS, what we call the ATS, the applicant tracking system, because when you go on LinkedIn, you go on Indeed, and you're trying to apply to a job, probably you have maybe 500 other people that have applied to that job. Now, you don't have no human being has the time to sit down, and start going over 500 applications manually. Again, let's talk about AI actually fixing the admin work for everybody. All right. So there is what we call the ATS that does the initial sifting through, right? So the ATS goes through the CVs one by one and flings some out the door. So there are some words, there are some keywords that have been put into the ATS. So if you see a CV that doesn't have these words, X, Y, and Z, fling it out. And that's why you see sometimes you apply for jobs, to, the interview stage. And that is because a human being has not even taken a look at your CV. It was the AI right at the door that said, go back. Now, how do you make sure that you're able to scale past this applicant tracking system? All right, we are available to offer, just to revamp your CV for you, to help you with that. And next, we have the LinkedIn optimization session. Now, your social presence is also very, very important. It's very important to be out there, in as much as you are doing your thing, you're working, make sure that you're out there, you're building networks. All right. Now, how do you strategically position yourself to get these high paying jobs? Because again, remember that you have the skills already. But you have the skills, it's like you have the skills in your pocket. Nobody knows that you actually possess the skills. How do you revamp and, optimize your LinkedIn profile so that, recruiters are just going around, before they put out a job listing? Because that's another thing I need to tell you. A lot of times when you see, job listings or job postings out there, 9 times out of 10, before that job posting went out, the recruiter has tried to fill the position themselves. And the reason for this is because that job posting you see, let's use LinkedIn. LinkedIn is the most common. That job listing that you see on LinkedIn actually costs the company money. So sometimes they go online and they try to search for people who they think would be qualified for that role. Now, how do you make sure that your profile is among the profile that pops up? And even when it pops up, when they click on it and they take a look at it, they are actually, impressed enough by what they see, enough for them to try to strike a conversation with you. Now, I'm going to share a, personal story. Personally, all right, I can't remember the last time that I applied for a job, and that's the truth. Now, a lot of jobs that I've been doing over the years, I got them through LinkedIn DMs. Okay, recruiters actually reached out to me to start up a conversation, and from there we schedule an interview. Now, I've also had other, people just like yourself that have gone through these trainings and they have landed jobs via LinkedIn. All right, so it is very possible. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to build a portfolio, which is part of the things that we'll be walking you through. How can you build a portfolio to actually showcase your experience? Because you may have the experience, but if recruiters cannot see proof of this experience, your chances of getting the job, actually reduces significantly. The next thing is the mentorship, right? It's really for a lot of us that this is an entirely new terrain. This is new territory. How do you excel? How do you even know what exactly it is that you need to do? How do you make sure that you don't remain clueless? And there's no shame in being clueless. I started off clueless at some point, but the truth is that you need mentorship. You need you need a hand holding. You need someone to speak to you, someone who has already passed through what you're currently passing through, and then they can give you tips and they can tell you and share things with you. Now, that is also part of what we offer. Now we are going to also prep you for interviews. Now that's the star of the show. So we've revamped your LinkedIn. We've revamped your LinkedIn for you. We've revamped your CV. You're out there, you're applying for jobs, and you get a job. You get a call back for an interview. Now, 90% of us here, you develop cold feet. You get jitters. Oh my God, I have an interview on Monday. Now you can 100% book a one-on-one session with, a professional here, and we will prep you for that interview. Now we're going to share likely questions with you. Basically have like a mock, interview or an interview simulation with you so that you know exactly what to expect once you get into, the main interview. Now, what this does for you is that it boosts your confidence. And by the time you're going into that interview, you already know the kind of questions that they're likely to ask you, and you know the answers to these questions. You know the projects that you want to speak about, and it significantly increases your chances of actually getting that job after the interview. And finally, we have the job reference. So when you land a job, we are 100% here to, provide you with a reference or a recommendation letter for your new role. Now, what is the next thing you want to do? You want to make sure that you're applying like a machine. It is very, very important. So it's not enough for you to just get all of these skills and just sit on your own, waiting for manna to fall from heaven. You need to also make sure that you are applying, aggressively. Apply, it's a numbers game. Make sure that you're applying to at least, 10 jobs every single day. Make sure you're applying. And just know that at least, 1 or 2 of them will reach out to you back. So make sure you send out 10 quality applications, and that, is how you get the job. All right. So when it comes to also searching for these remote jobs, especially for a lot of us that want to work remotely, but not just remote jobs really, when it comes to searching for jobs, it's more than just LinkedIn. It's more than just Indeed. You know, it's more than just Glassdoor. Those ones are, right now, they're oversaturated. Everybody is looking for jobs on LinkedIn. Now, there are other, you know, remote work sites that you can also use to land yourself in remote high-paying jobs. Work site like Remote OK, you know, you have Working Nomad, you have Angel List, and also We Work Remotely. All right. Now, employers want two things and two things only from you. That is the truth. Okay. They want the skills. They want to know that you actually have the skills. You can actually perform on the job. And they also want experience. All right. Now, very important. Now, I'm sure a lot of us, you know, in our minds, we have questions right now. You're like, oh, Elizabeth, you're talking about experience right now, but what about me that is a newbie? All right, how do I get this experience? You may need to take the 10 Analytics business program to find out just exactly how you get that experience. That will do a lot of projects. You actually get to work on projects that you can house in your portfolio. All right, you get to work on projects that you can house to build this experience that these recruiters, you know, want from you. Now we have more success stories. Just make sure, once again, to fill the attendance form so you can have access to this slide. But let's talk about 𝗪𝗂𝗋. Now, 𝗪𝗂𝗋, you know, studied chemistry in college, right? And he had experience as an operations manager, and he joined the 10 Analytics data analytics class. All right, now 𝗪𝗂𝗋 was able to land a job as a pathology data analyst with the NHS in the UK on full visa sponsorship. Again, you know, I'm telling you that there are people that have walked this walk before you. 𝗪𝗂𝗋 was able to land a job with the NHS, and that job offered him full visa sponsorship. Let's take a look at Pavel as well. All right, now Pavel had experience as a teacher in, you know, Cameroon before moving to the US. So Pavel already moved to the US, but his experience was in teaching. All right, and he also joined the 10 Analytics data analytics class. And today, Pavel has landed a job as a healthcare data and reporting analyst with the Arizona Community Physicians in Arizona, United States. All right. So I'm telling you all of this to let you know that, you know, it is actually possible. Okay. And how is it possible? It's possible through project-based learning. So every single thing you're going to be learning for your analytics, you actually learn them using projects. So you're not coming to class to read ABC. You're not coming to class to read a textbook. You are actually working on projects that you can house on your portfolio. So that when you actually get on the job, right, all of these things are not new to you. They are things that you have already worked on your own. And you agree with me that when it comes to learning, things that you actually do by yourself, you remember faster than things that you read. And that's just a fact, a well-known fact. You know, you can research this and you can quote me anywhere. But, you know, let's move on so we don't spend too much time here. So just make sure, you know, that you are showing these employers that you are the right person for the job. I also have some portfolios of some of our previous, you know, participants and our previous students linked here. So once you get the slide, you know, you can take your time to go through them, and then you learn how to, excuse me, you learn how to build a portfolio. Now, the question on everyone's mind today is, how can I start? And I will leave Treasure to also walk us through that as well. Hi, Treasure.
Hi, Elizabeth. Don't run from the stage just yet. I'm very sure quite a number of people have questions from you. So before Elizabeth disappears, thank you for such a fantastic session. I think we learned a great deal when it comes to AI, you know, different roles in regards to AI, how to get jobs with AI, remote roles. Oh, I love the fact that a lot of people are already, you know, clapping and reacting for you. Elizabeth is a fantastic facilitator. So if you have any questions for Elizabeth, let's have your questions now before we move over to the second stage of this session. Does anyone have any specific questions in regards AI, how to get AI roles, you know, things in that regards before we move over to the next session? If not, I think we can kickstart how you can get started today. Elizabeth, you can go ahead, stop sharing your screen so I can kick off from here. All right, so I know a lot of questions, or a question burning in your mind is, okay, a lot of people have been saying AI, AI, AI. How do I get started? What are the basic next steps for me? What do I need to do? Once the use of AI cuts our pay? Absolutely not. It's just more or less how to work smarter than harder. Imagine as a data analyst professional, okay, when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to automating your workflow, when it comes to cleaning, when it comes to analyze, when it comes to presenting data, it takes you about 6 to 8 hours to get it done. And you can use AI to do that in less than 30 minutes. 30 minutes tops. You have gotten your data cleaned, you've gotten your data analyzed, and you'll be able to present it in a nice looking dashboard. Something that would have taken you 6 to 8 hours to do that, and you did that in less than 30 minutes. You have 7 hours, 30 minutes to do whatever you want with that time. So if it is working on another project, if it is getting another task, then you have the ability to do that. So this is a process of working smarter and not harder. That is why it is a collaborative process, so to say. Okay, so it is not AI versus human, it is AI and humans. Okay, it's not that AI is coming to take over your job, it is you working with your AI to work smarter and faster. And that's the end goal of what we want to achieve with you today. I hope that answers your question. Smart. Okay, so moving on to the base concept question: must you be a graduate before you getting a job on AI? The answer is no. In the world of tech, okay, you don't need to have prior knowledge, you don't need to have background knowledge. You can start off as a complete novice. Just like learning every other skill, you need to first be able to understand the concept, have the information, then you start to build your skill sets. Building your skill sets, is synonymous with building your portfolio. Okay, I'm a data analyst. How many dashboards have I created? When it comes to analyzing data, have I been able to analyze financial data? Have I been able to analyze business data? And things in that light. And when you have that all in one, like, document or repository, you can display that on your LinkedIn profile, on your WhatsApp status. Just make sure that you are building in public, and you're not very silent about building whatever aspect you choose to do so. Okay, because the important thing is, if you build silently, nobody knows your proficiency level. Okay, if you are someone that knows how to use AI tools for your data analytics process, like N8N, Zapier, to automate your workflow, and you are silent about it, you are just the same as every other data analyst. If I'm coming to interview for you for a role, why should I hire you? What is that differentiating factor between you and that next person? And I see someone on their CV, it is AI data analyst, and I see someone whose CV says data analyst. Who do you think I would go for? Okay, so that's the question that you need to ask yourself. What should basically make me stand out when it comes to application? I'm looking for that $600,000, $800,000 role. Okay, and I just have basic data analytics skill. How does that help me? So that should be the burning question in your mind. Okay, so to answer your question directly, you don't need to be a graduate before you get a job in AI. Okay, you just need to first of all have the skill set, practice over and over again, and then you build in public, and you also reach out to different communities where you can get the support that you need. Okay, and that brings me to the next slide. So when it comes to how you can get started today, we can help you get started. Okay, so I'm just going to zoom this in a bit more so you can see my screen. So in regards to the programs we have upcoming, so you have what we call generative AI for data analytics and data analyst and professional, and you also have, on the other hand, becoming an AI automation engineer. Okay, and these are two different but sort of interrelated type of courses. Okay, so for generative AI for data analyst and professional. If you're a data analyst on this call, or you're an individual looking to go into data analytics, data science, data engineering, you need to understand the key concepts of data analytics. So how many tools can you make use of as a data professional? Do you know how to make use of Excel? If you're talking about the Microsoft space, do you know how to make use of Excel, Power BI, Tableau, and SQL? Or if you're talking about the Google space, do you know how to make use of Google Sheets, talking about Looker Studio, BigQuery, as well as Tableau itself? So these are the very fundamental tools that you need to know as a data professional for your data analytics processes, okay? But now it's not taking it a step further, because if you look at Excel now, you would also see Microsoft Copilot. So even big names like Google, Microsoft are also integrating different AI tools to ensure that you are able to achieve your task quicker, faster, and become more efficient. But if you don't know how to use those tools, something as simple as Microsoft Copilot in your Excel, how do you scale? Okay, so times are changing, and you should learn how to change with times. That's the only way you stay relevant as an individual, and that's how you don't get to lose your job to AI. Okay, so now we have a course that is specific for data analysts, which we call the generative AI for data analysts. And what you'll be learning is how to use generative AI for data cleaning, how to write different queries, how to report, okay, have a nice looking dashboard without just prompting, ChatGPT, Claude. There are so many data tools that are AI focused that you can make use of, okay? And then how to also generate SQL queries, Python code from natural languages. So there are a lot more. If you can see my screen clearly, you can see what you'd begin. Now, this is not the entire curriculum. This is just a snippet. I'll show you the entire curriculum in a minute. So this is the curriculum end-to-end when it comes to generative AI. So for the next 4 weeks, you'll be focusing on 4 different aspects, okay? You start off with generative AI for data. And this is just to say that if you are an individual that do not have any knowledge, or you are trying to transition into tech, or you want to take data analytics as your first tech skill, this is a good place to start, because we'll be kicking off the session with basic things like Excel, rows, column. We'll start from the very nitty-gritty of the course before we start to move into how to use AI in these specific tools, and then how to create some of these AI agents that can help your workflow as a data analyst. So if you can see my screen clearly, from week 1, you'll be learning introduction to generative AI, and in that specific course, you'll be learning things like the specific SQL tools, Power BI tools, generative AI basics, how to use different AI tools like OpenAI API, ChatGPT. So just know that this is not only ChatGPT, okay? There's an OpenAI API that just helps you with your workflow process as a data analyst, how to make use of Power BI and Copilot, okay? And loads more. So if you're coming to week 2, there's AI for data exploration and visualization. Week 3, you'll be learning predictive and advanced analytics with AI. And week 4, you'll be working on your own projects. There's something that I really love about this organization is the fact that you're not just coming to, it's not a Coursera course that you're watching videos and that will be the end of it. You watch videos, you have a live facilitator. After that, you'd also work on projects, okay? And your projects would also get displayed on our social media platform, just to give you that visibility that you need, especially for those looking to transition out of their current roles, upskill themselves, looking for foreign roles. This is a good place to start. So like I mentioned, this is the flow that we have end-to-end for generative AI for data analysts. And as a professional, we also took into consideration that not a lot of people would have time to take these classes on a weekday. The good part is the classes are strictly on the weekend. So Saturdays and Sundays, you'll be having these classes, and on Saturdays it's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. and on Sundays it is 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. West African time. So you do have time to, go to church, come back, go to mosques, and then you start your classes, okay? And the very fantastic aspect is our courses are typically ranging 200,000 naira for the information we put across. But right now, because Analytics is celebrating its 5-year anniversary, we are offering a 75% discount, okay? So instead of you to pay 200,000 naira to get all those information, you get your you'd learn different aspects, you'd have expert facilitator, you'd have 3 months access to a learning management system where you get foundational knowledge when it comes to data analytics, you have access to course materials, And you also get a certificate. The good part about our certificate is we are accredited by the American Council of Training and Development. So this comes in handy for individuals that are looking to get foreign roles. Okay, even in Nigeria, it gives you, like, your certificate is weighted, so to say. Okay, so this is the typical certificate you'll be getting. As you can see the accreditation as well. So you can use the certificate anywhere in the world, and you are getting that for just 50,000 naira. Okay, this is such a big steal, and classes are starting tomorrow. You're not waiting till October. Classes are literally starting tomorrow, so this is a good time for you to lock in this discount, because it is not coming back ever again. So if you do not lock in the discount right now, you will not be able to benefit from this when it comes to generative AI as a data analyst. So we're currently running a 75% discount for this course, and it's for 50,000 naira. You can either pay full time, like full 50,000 naira, or you can pay in 2 installments. Okay, so it should be a good time for you to lock in that discount. I'm sure my colleagues are dropping the information, the link to this open program, so you can have access to it and go through that. So this is for data analysts, people looking to get to data space. That's the course that benefits you. But then we have another course. Okay, so this is now for any and every name it, and you're looking to automate your workflow. Okay, I don't want when I have 100 applications and I don't have time to go through those 100 applications. I want AI to do it for me and pick the best 8 candidates. It can be done in less than 15 minutes. Something that would have taken you hours and as an HR professional can be done in less than 15 minutes. But how would you know, okay, if you don't have that information at hand? And this is where AI automation engineer comes in. From the name, you might be thinking, oh, it's going to be technical, quite all right, but it is for every and any person. Any professional needs this course, okay? Because it shows you how to automate your workflow, how to build chatbots, how to create AI agents that can do literally anything for you. Okay, so it will be working for you, and you'll be collecting the salary. Okay, so that's the important aspect for AI automation engineer. And as you can see on my screen, what you'll be gaining is prompts and being able to prompt. So a lot of people make use of ChatGPT. Oh, ChatGPT, please write my resume for me. And ChatGPT will give you the most ridiculous answer, the most basic response. But how do you adequately prompt ChatGPT for a financial analyst role, for a HR role? You'll be learning all this when it comes to AI automation engineer. You'd also be learning how to create like real world system. You'll be learning how to create AI agents. You'll be using different tools, okay? Tools like Zapier, anything, GenSpark AI. There's so many AI tools that you need to learn and get on as soon as possible. So AI automation engineer is for every and any person. Okay, if you're looking to automate your workflow end to end, this would be a good place to start. We'll take you from the foundational aspect. Please don't be scared. Everything that we're doing goes from foundation to advanced and not vice versa. Okay, so if you are a beginner, intermediate, this is a session for you. Okay, and just like the other class, you have it Saturdays and Sundays, where you'll be learning different aspects, and it will also be project based. So after each week on Sundays, you'll be doing the projects for that particular week. Okay, so by the end of week 4, you have your capstone project, and basically you present your own AI chatbot or the AI agents that you of your preferred choice, depending on your particular departments that you need to learn. Okay, so just like we have on, generative AI for data analysts, you have the AI automation program, and it's running concurrently. So September 13th to October 5th, this is also starting tomorrow, and it is also at a 50% discount. I'm saying this one time, this is not coming back again in terms of the discounts that we have. So instead of 200,000 naira, you'll be paying 100,000 naira. And it's also Saturdays and Sundays, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Sundays, it's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. You still get the same benefiting facts, the same benefits as the Gen AI for data analyst. So you'd have access to facilitators, access to the program the LMS system, course materials, certificates. You're able to network with different professionals. To tell you the lineup of people we currently have registered is to say the least. You have CEOs, you have product managers, finance specialists, customer service people, VP of operations. We have a load of different professionals, and this would be a good time for you to also network with these individuals as you'll be working in groups. So this is going for 100,000 naira, and this is going for 50,000 naira. And like I said, classes are starting tomorrow. So the best time to get started is right now, because after now, you would not have access to this information or at this particular cost price. So I don't know if anyone has any questions so far before I move further in my presentation. I'm just going to look through the chat. If you have a question, you can either use the raise hand icon or you can drop it in the chat. If you want to use the raise hand icon, you can go ahead to do that. I would request for you to unmute your mic and then you can speak. So Ifeanyi is just dropping comments, to support AI and, human. Okay, let's go through this question. Honestly, AI assists human to work faster and better. Nevertheless, my concerns are initially, okay, human critical mental development and expansion, especially in Gen Zs, when AI dependencies overshadow human critical. Okay. So that brings me to the example that Elizabeth used in her presentation. So would you say something like making use of calculator made people smarter or dumb? Okay, because before you have to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to calculate, but now you can easily do that with a calculator. Do you think it made people smarter or it made them dumber? So that's something you need to consider. So in as much as these AI tools are stated there, okay, it is supposed to help you achieve your day-to-day activities, but the use is also specific on the human making use of it. Okay, there are individuals that with the use of ChatGPT cannot still write an essay. And there are still individuals that would make use of that ChatGPT and would write a beautifully executed essay. Okay, so you still need brain power to access or assess the information that evaluate the information that it gives to you. If you verbatim just provide that information, it makes no sense. So you still need your human sensibility, your own understanding to be able to analyze that information. In as much as a data analyst will use anything to create the workflow and there's an error, you should be able to spot it. AI does the first layer. Humans oversees the process. That's what you need to know. So that is why it is very important that for each individual, the AI ethics processes, as for you as an individual, it's supposed to support you. It's not supposed to take over from you. And that's what you need to know in that regard. So compromise of confidential data, leak and loss. We get this question every masterclass. And the response is quite simple. You as an individual making use of your Gmail account, okay, so your Google Mail account at the moment, there are 100 millions of people using Gmail accounts. Are you saying that you can see the next person's emails that go into their accounts every single day? No, you don't. So there are protections. That's why when you're making use of these AI tools, you should also be very careful. There are some that are secured and have very strong backends, like Microsoft Copilot, okay? Even for Google, okay, Gemini, they have strong backends and protections behind them. So be very careful of the AI tools that you make use of, okay? So these tools are protected by the laws that guide Microsoft itself. So just ensure that you're making use of the right AI tools and then your data is not compromised in any way, form, or size because it is completely protected by the laws that Microsoft or Google has. So that's just the answer to that particular question. Do we have a working office? No, we don't have a working office. ฎ is based out of Canada. Most of the staff are working remotely and our classes are 100% virtual. So we don't have a working office for you to come into. The classes will be taken online. You'd have access to the recording for life. So whatever class that you take, you have access to the recording because the classes are always recorded and you get access to the course material. So we don't have a working office. We preach tech, we preach remote work. So our classes are done remotely and virtually. So moving on to the next question. Godwin said, as a beginner who's yet to start a journey, yet to know anything in regards Excel, Power BI. Sorry, I'm going to take that again. So as a beginner, what training did ฎ have for new beginners? So for ฎ business, like I rightly mentioned, if you have nothing if you don't have any experience in Excel, Power BI, Tableau, the best course for you to take would be generative AI for data analyst and professional. And here's the reason behind that. Before you go to the AI aspect, you need to know what is Excel, what is row, what is column, what is pivot table before, okay, how do I use AI to implement? And we already have short courses for you to, have a clear understanding of that. You have your facilitator take you through that process before we move into AI proper, okay? So this is to let you know that the courses are beginner friendly. If you don't have any prior experience, you can still take those courses, and at the end you come out an expert. That is the truth of the matter. So this is a beginner friendly course. It is not for people that are advanced. It is not just solely AI and that's it. That's why we have the AI automation separate, and we have generative AI specifically for data analysts. So you'll be going through the processes, learning about Excel, Power BI, all the different data tools before you come into how to implement the AI for this specific tool. So I would recommend you go for generative AI for data analyst and professional. So Smart said, would this help me build work experience too? Fantastic question. Absolutely, yes. Okay, so the good part about it is not just you coming to watch videos and listen to me talk for hours. You are also going to be recreated. If I'm to build a dashboard, okay, making use of an AI tool, let's say with N8N or Copilot or Claude or whatever tool I get to use, at the end of the day, trust me, if I'm going to post on LinkedIn, I post 3 times a week. If I'm going to post it on LinkedIn, I'm going to state the way I was able to clean the data, okay? Then analyze the data. If I'm also going to add any automation using Google App Script, I'm also going to highlight that there. And then also state your findings and recommendation. Because the whole point of having dashboard is not just something fancy for people to read. It's for you to be able to draw insight as well as make decision as, for your organization, for your business in total, so to say. Okay, so yes, we'll help you build work experience because you'll be working on different projects, and for the project that you're working on, at the end of the day, you create a project portfolio. Okay, and then you can say you are a consultant for analytics business while working. Okay, for the 1 month you're working with us, you'll be working on different projects, and you can put that out there. Good part is analytics business, we have a large following, so to say, and we can repost your work, okay, just to give you that visibility that you need. So you can also term that as work experience when taking the course with analytics business. Okay, so how about your data science full package course? I couldn't join online. Is it still available or would this suffice? Okay, so we've not had data science course. I don't know if you're talking about analytics, because we have analytics and this is analytics business. So analytics business, with this course would suffice, because in the generative AI for data analysis, but not just doing Excel, Power BI, Tableau, but taking it a step further, there's SQL, there's Python. Okay, so as a data science individuals, when you're talking about AI and machine learning, this also keys into that, because you'll be learning large language models. Okay, so it's not just focused on just the data tools. You're taking it a step further. You're going to be learning about Python, SQL, Excel, Power BI. So this will suffice, because you'll be learning not just the data tools, but how to implement AI in your processes. So I hope that answers your question, Isaac, or if you need any further clarification. Can I create my own AI, and what are the processes? If you want to learn how to create your own AI agent, you want to learn how to create your own AI chatbot, then join the session. Okay, so we have a course on AI automation end-to-end, how to be an AI automation engineer, and I'm going to be showing you how to do this. If you come to the curriculum itself, take it a step further, you'd see that at the end of the day, you'll be learning how to build multi-agent system, making use of AI calling APIs. For your projects, you'll be learning, let's say for your choice of AI automation app, if you want to build a customer support bot, if you want to be an AI researcher, content automation agent, you will create your own specific unique AI tool. Okay, so if you want to learn how the processes work, you need to join the AI automation engineer program. Excuse me, and you'll be able to learn that process end to end. I don't know if there are any other questions. If you take the complete 8-month program on data science, will you learn generative AI for data science? Because I'm a bit confused with this 3 weeks course. First to clarify, this is a 4-week course and not 3 weeks. And I think you are mixing Analytics and Analytics business. So the parent company is 𝗬𝗏 itself. 𝗬𝗏 has like an 8-month program. So that is, you'll be taking 6 months in class and then 2 months of internship. That'll be for the 8 months program. For the generative AI data, yes, we've included that into the curriculum for 𝗬𝗏, but this is 𝗬𝗏 business, and this is a 4-week course, okay? Because we understand that professionals need, they don't have time to be going through the nitty-gritty, so to say, okay? This also suffice because we basically just pick the information that is needed for their day-to-day activities for them to achieve that, okay? That's why it is 1 month, and within that 1 month you'll be learning the AI aspects of data analytics. Data analytics itself at the very core and basis, and by the end of the class, you'll be awarded your certification. So I think you mean, if you're talking about 8-month program, that should be 𝗬𝗏, but this is 𝗬𝗏 business, and this also suffice. But for the 8-month program, that's a very different conversation entirely. But yes, you'll be getting AI if you are taking the data analysis program. Will lectures be downloadable? Isaac, absolutely 1000%. At the end of this session, if you filled your name in the attendance, you have access to the recording. The courses, the materials that we are using in this session will be shared across with the recording as well. So that is how your classes are going to be. So at the moment, we even have some people that are registered currently on this call. So they are in a group. Okay, so they would have, their facilitator would be on that group as well. So if they have any questions, it is easily responded to, and they don't have issues in real time. They can get responses to their questions. They have access to the courses. They have access to the recording. So it is lifetime access. We're not going to deny you access at any point. But for the LMS, you have 3 months access to the short courses that we have on there when it comes to data analytics. So that's the information there. What list of AI tools are we working with for the generative AI courses? So there are loads of them. We are not just focused on like one aspect. There are a series of tools that we are going to be making use of. So like I started off saying, you have GenSpark AI. We're also going to be making use of Zapier. We'll also be making use of tools like N8N as well. We're making use of tools. There are quite a number of them, so to say, okay? So for you to really get access to those specific information, like I said, join the class and you get to know what we'll be doing for each of those courses end to end. But there are a number of tools we'll be making use of when it comes to generative AI for students, generative AI for data analysts. So just to walk you through some of them, you'll still be using your Power BI and Copilot at the very core. You'll also be making use of N8N, Zapier. You'll be making use of Microsoft Fabric's SQL Copilot. Going through the end-to-end process, you're making use of Zapier, you're making use of N8N, you're making use of GenSpark, Claude, and loads more for this particular session. So that's what you'll be using. What's the cost for the 8-month course? So if you're talking about analytics, the original cost is $1,000 because analytics charges in dollars. But at the moment, they're currently running a discount and it is running for $750. So that's the cost at the moment. So if you pay early, you have access to the 8-month course. If I am currently on a course right now, I won't be able to combine both because of the financial cost. I'd love to give tenants a shot maybe in the near future. I would highly recommend that you join this session because next month, if money is a problem, next month is going to be way higher. And the good part about these courses is that you can pay in installments. You don't have to pay one time, okay? You can, if you want to pay 50,000 naira to start, and then 3 weeks, 4 weeks into the program, you pay your balance. I would recommend that you sort of secure your discount right now instead of waiting till that time. Why do I feel 1 month is too small for this course, especially because it is just weekend? Do you want to spend 8-10 months on a course? Okay, so just to respond to that question more strategically, so to say, while we created, if you were really following analytics business from the start, our courses were 3 days. 2 days, 3 days, and we are done. Okay, but we understood that that's quite short a time. key areas that you need to be able to achieve your day-to-day activities, okay, as a professional. If you're learning data analytics in long term, you're doing Excel, Power BI, sometimes you learn what is data, types of data. There are some of the theoretical aspects that we can cover in the short courses, because this is a hybrid mode of teaching, okay? We come at it from 3 aspects. We have a learning management system where you have courses that you can watch on your own. You'd have the facilitator, like live facilitator, responding to your questions, and then on your own you go over your courses, and you also have what we call drop-in sessions, conversation with the facilitator if you're not clear on anything, okay? The classes are Saturdays and Sundays, so in total you have 8 sessions. 8 sessions is more than enough. 3 hours, okay, it's more than enough to cover the process using these different methods, because before coming to class, you already watched your short course video that talks about Excel, Power BI, trim function, all the functions you need to know when it comes to Excel. Moving into Power BI, dashboarding, you already watched those videos. So now coming to class, the next step is, oh, how can I implement AI in this with these specific tools? Okay, that's one aspect. Once you're done with that, you work on your projects, and then you move on to the next step. So week 2, you move on to that, okay? So 1 month is more than enough to go through this end to end, and you will get strong value. You'll be able to implement this, be able to present this, as well as build presence, okay? Build online with your processes that you get from this particular information, and land roles. Like as you can see, there's a lot of success stories, people landing roles after going through each of these courses. So that's why 1 month is not small at all. If you could do this in 2-3 days, you can do this in 1 month. 8 months, 1 month, if you are serious about learning and you're willing to put in that time and effort, I'm more than certain 1 month is enough. Okay, if you want the 8 months where you do 1 week in class, 1 week out of class, you can go for 𝗪analytics. Or 𝗪analytics business, we know that professionals want to get results as soon as possible. It's not a shortcut process. It is you in real time working really hard, giving yourself 1 month to achieve this particular goal and going for it. So I hope that answers your question, David. How do we make payments? So in terms of making payments, my colleagues have dropped the link, but I'm just going to go ahead to do it myself. So there's this link. It takes you to this page that I'm looking at. So in terms of making payments, all you need to do is to click this button where it shows for you to view your curriculum. After you view the curriculum, you see the dates and all the information. You see the payment details. So you make payment into this account details. And once you've paid, you move over to the next button, which shows for you to register, for you to secure your spot, and to bring you, I've already registered, to bring you to this tab where it asks you to fill your details and all. But basically, that's the process on how to register. Come on here, you'd see the accounts to make payments in. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me personally. This is my phone number. If you need further clarity, you can send me an email. This is my email address, or you can just click on the website, okay? And then you have access to the information end to end. So that's for the open program. And on the flip side, if you're looking to have customized training, okay, because we know some individuals, oh, I'm not looking for just AI, I'm looking to train my organization in data analytics or leadership or communication or whatever skill, tech skill or soft skill, it doesn't really matter. Just let us know. You can send me an email and we can pick up the conversation from there. So all you need to do is just send me an email and we will take the conversation from there, and we can have a customized training for your organization. So it's a two-side coin, okay? If you want to have this for your organization, you don't want them to join the open program, you want us to come on site to train your staff, okay? Just send me an email, we'll take the conversation from there, and we'll book a meeting, discuss the nitty-gritty, and we'll deploy individuals for those sessions. I don't know if there are any other questions. I can see loads and loads of payments coming in. You guys are fantastic humans. So thank you so much. Fantastic set of individuals. Like I said, this is the right time for you to secure your slot. Moving into next month, this price is going to double. Like no joke, it's going to double. If you come to this website tomorrow, you're going to be seeing a totally different price. And don't say that I didn't mention it to you right now. So this day is the last day to secure this particular discount. From tomorrow, we'll be having a totally different price, totally different, same topics, but totally different pricing system going on. I don't know if there are any further questions or clarification. I'm very sure that I've gone through all the questions that I can see on the chat. But if there are any other questions, please let me know. If not, thank you so much for staying to this particular time. I think we've had a very fantastic session. I can't wait to see each and every one of you on this call in class on Saturday. Okay, so 35 of you, you all should go register for the session, whether AI automation or generative AI for data analysis. For you to stay with me to this very minute, I'm very sure there is a level of interest and as well as interest for the session. So just ensure that you key into the discount right now, because next month, different price entirely. That being said, the fantastic, what is the time tomorrow? Class starts by 10 a.m. So 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. you'd have your class. You'd have your class start by 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And after 1 p.m., you go your way. You can go practice. On Sunday, you come back 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And that will be it till the next week. If there are no further questions, fantastic session. I'm sure you all had a great session. So thank you so much for staying with me to this very point. It was fantastic having conversation with y'all. I'm looking forward to seeing you in class. If you have questions, let me know. If you want to drop the open program, let me know. I'm also going to drop my number just in case anyone. Thank you so much, Isaac. Dropping my number in case anyone wants to sort of get more clarity on the process. If you have open program interest, let me know. If you want to join a customized training session, let me know. Email me, text me. We would get started as soon as possible. Thank you, everyone, and have a great rest of your evening. Bye, y'all.